Hello everyone, I'm Allison Gonzalez, a Microsoft Certified Trainer, and in this episode of my series on report design in Power BI, we are talking all about custom visuals, specifically my top 5 favorites that are free and also Power BI certified. Let's go take a look. Alright, so inside here in Power BI, this right now, what I have up is called the AppSource. This is where you can pick all of the custom visuals. Now, last week we went over pretty much all of the regular visuals that are in Power BI. So all of these standard ones up here that when you open Power BI, these are what you get. We go over that in the last episode. So if you haven't seen that, definitely go back, watch that after this one. Now, there's a bunch of ones in here, though, that we did not cover, and those are AI visuals. And so these AI visuals, we have a bunch right over here. These ones are all covered in one of my good trainer friends, Matt Peterson's. He did a live Learn with the Nerd event about a month ago, and he goes over all of them. So definitely 2 things to watch if you are just jumping into the series right here. Definitely rewatch, check those out. I will also have those linked below for you. So after you're all done this one, no worries. You can just head down and grab those next ones to watch to go over all of the other regular visuals as well as those AI visuals. Now, let's talk custom visuals. Custom visuals, so you can see I have a whole line of them down here. These are all ones that are created by third-party developers. Now, sometimes the third-party developer is Microsoft itself, as they've done a few of my favorites as well. But a lot of times it's just a regular developer who came up with a really awesome visual that you were able to put into your report, really elevate the look and the feel, make it look more professional, give you extra features that weren't previously available in one of these standard visuals. So I'm going to go over my top 5 favorites. Now, I have 2 criteria for this list. First off, they have to be free, or at least have a free plan. Now, all of these custom visuals, a good majority of them are free, but some do have a cost, and that cost will vary on the visual. So some are a one-time fee, some are a monthly fee. You'd really have to check the visual you want to see if it does have a fee and what that is. Now, the other thing, which I would kind of argue is even more important, is if it is Power BI certified. What that means is that the Power BI team has gone through, made sure that each of these visuals is safe, secure, and is going to work in all instances of Power BI. Now, a lot of organizations restrict the use of uncertified visuals. So we can see here, if we're looking at this list, we have this nice little blue check mark, very influencer official on here. Now, everything, we can see these first top rows, all of these have that, but we can see this one over here. It does not have that check mark. Now, this might not be a bad visual, it might not be dangerous, but it might not just work in some capacity of Power BI. Maybe it gets a little glitchy on mobile, maybe not. Because it's not certified, can't really know for sure what goes on there. So lots of good visuals, but 2 things I would definitely look out for. First off, is it Power BI certified? Because that way you don't have to figure out if something's broken later on down the line, whether that's your visual or if it's your data. So save yourself some headache. Find one that is Power BI certified, and of course, check that price if that is a concern you want to look into. Now, to go into this, you can see there's tons and tons and tons. I think we're almost up to or even over 400 of them by now. You can filter through here, and of course, to get to these visuals, you can access this from right inside of Power BI. So this ellipses button here at the very bottom of your visual pane right here, you can click that, launches, see them all, download them here. You can also go to the AppSource website separately to download those, and I will have that linked below for you. Now, when you're here, you get to pick whatever one you'd like. You can click on it. When you click on it, you're going to go to this little description page. Here on the description page, you will see a little description. You're going to see some images, potentially even videos of that. Now, this is all provided by the developer, and so we can see this developer name, this publisher name over in these 2 spots. We can see that it's Power BI certified, and we can see that, hey, some are free, but some might have additional purchases for some of the features here. You can also add, and that will add it into your report. Now, when you're adding in visuals, if I add it in, I'm simply adding it into this report. If I then close Power BI and then open a new instance or a different report, it would not be there. If I want this visual, I would need to then pin this, which would take the visual from this section down here, move it up here to live happily ever after with these. Now, if you're using custom visuals a lot, I would just, hey, every month or so, check, make sure you're actually using it, because otherwise your visualization pane is going to get really cluttered. You're going to have a lot in there. But if you use one a lot, definitely pin it, keep it there so it is easy to get to. All right, let's take a look now at my top faves. If you have different favorite ones, please let me know in the comments below. I always want to see new visuals, see how they work, good use cases for them. That way I'll be able to suggest it to clients when we do mentoring, as well as in classes that we are doing. Now, first one that I have for you is the play axis slicer. We use this a lot in our classes, and for good reason. It's a good one. What this does is you are able to put a field in here, so you can drag a field from your data, put it in here, and then all of the elements that are contained in that column of data. So for mine, I grabbed the year column, so all of the years in this data set, it is going to run through. It will essentially play through. This is a really great way to have a hands-off presentation. So you can talk about what's going on as it cycles through and changes the data for you. Now, some of the things you can adjust with this. So if we go over looking into our formatting above me, I can see with this animation setting, I'm able to set this to auto start. So as soon as I open this up, it's gonna play. I can also set it for a loop to keep playing forever. And I can also adjust the speed. Now, I think that the 1 second is really fast. I generally like to put it to like 4. That way you can sit on each data point, actually absorb the data, especially when you have a lot of visuals all moving around and syncing. Because this does work essentially just like a slicer, just a nice animated slicer. You can also easily change your colors, and so that is talking about the colors of your kind of music, video kind of player icons right there. So I can either pick one color for everything, or I can decide if I want to have an individual color for each of these, and then I can just individually change each one of those if I want to do a different one for each of those buttons. Of course, in your general settings, you have all of your regular kind of turn your title on and off, change the actual background of your visual, turn it off. Your kind of standard ones over here. But the play axis is a good one, and of course it is free and Power BI certified. Next one up is the Chiclet slicer, and this one is actually a Microsoft visual where they themselves are the third party in this case. But this is another slicer, and what I love about this one is you can bring in pictures. So this links off of a image URL, so you just go to wherever those images are hosted and grab them from there. So I have a list of all of our, Pragmatic Works trainers up here, and so I can go through and really adjust each of these little chiclets, each of these little sections by going over here into my formatting. Now into your data, I bring over essentially 2 fields. You see you have a category, a value field, as well as an image. Depending on the data, you can kind of move things around. But I have the name as well as the trainer image in that image field. And again, that is a URL in my data that is set as a URL, my data category for this image. So you do want to make sure that if you have a URL where that is saved, it is categorized as a URL to make sure that this will work. But in your formatting, in your general section, I can decide how many columns I want to have, or if I want to even contain certain rows instead. So I can go to 2, 3, 4, and it will kind of be responsive to fit in the space that I have set for it. I can also change if I want to allow multi-selection, so select multiple little slicer chiclets at the same time, or if I want to only allow one at a time. I can turn off my header up here. So a lot of times I'll do that because it's kind of obvious what your pictures are when you go to that. And then we get into the chiclets. And so this is getting into the little size of that area. So if I want to make my text larger or smaller, I can also very easily just adjust the size of each of those. So if I want them to be more square, I can do that. Of course, I can also just like write in whatever number I want them to be very easily in here as well. Let's see if we can go 150 to 150. There we go. I can decide if I want a background on here. I can adjust my selected color down here. And now, one other thing that I want to change is in my images. Now, I can change the amount of space that my image is taking up. Right now, my image is taking up 50% and my text is taking up the other 50%. So it's kind of splitting it fit that way. Now, maybe I'm looking at this and I was like, you know what? I know all these people by their face. I don't even need their name. I could put my image split to 100. And in that case, I'm only going to see the picture. It's going to knock out that text. And I could also change this. Maybe I want the image to just be 75 and that text to still be there. You can play around with it and see what you like. I can also decide if I want the image circle to be round, if I want to stretch it to fit. I don't do that one. I would advise you not to either. And then I can also, in my general, you can change your effects, your properties, all of your regular settings. And of course, if you want to turn your background off, so that those kind of look a little bit more native to the report rather than sitting on a visual on top of the report, which would be one of my suggestions. But Chiclet Slicer is really great. Of course, any data that you bring in, if it is linked and properly connected in your data model to your other data, it will filter that down really well. But you can bring in lots of pictures, whether that could be country flags, whether that is a product type image, whatever it is, it can make your report really a little bit more elevated, so you're not just staring at extra text. It is going to have just a little more personalized touch, make it a little bit extra. Now, the Infographic Designer is another one that is by Microsoft, again, Power BI certified and free. This is a really fun one because it allows you to bring over icons. And so there's a bunch right here when you go to this little pencil icon that you are able to adjust. Now for your report, I can see I brought in, I have a category field, a legend, I have a measure, a column by, a row by, and this data binding only that I can bring data over to. Right now I just have it in my category, which is kind of these countries down here, and then I have a sales measure in here. Now to get, instead of it being like a just regular data bar, to get that icon, if I just click on that little pencil there, and I click on this little shape icon right here at the far left, it is going to bring up this whole window of all different shapes. So basic ones, all of these different business and technologies. I can see food and drink ones, different household ones, nature, people, transportation. All of this is bike data, so I put a bike in for each of those. You're also able to upload anything or bring it in from a URL. So if that image is hosted somewhere and you want to bring it over, you can easily bring that in. Now, something to note, if I were to change this, maybe I'm like, I want this bike instead, it's going to kind of layer them. So you'd have to go through, sort which one you want, and then you can delete the other one or change that shape order if you want to kind of change that around and mess with it. But a lot you can do over here, and then of course in your regular formatting for this, you have a lot of chart. So under visual section, you only have chart, but there's a lot that they packed in there where you're able to change your chart width and height. You can turn your legend on and off. You can adjust your X and Y axis, set any minimum or max values that you would like, add any padding in, and adjust any fonts for that. And then of course, your standard general settings where you can kind of turn your title on and off, add a background, change that, all of that good stuff in here. But that's another good way to incorporate imagery, which a lot of people can relate to and understand and connect with easier than just more words and graphs on your page. Now, the next one is this custom calendar. Now, if you are really looking at your data from a day, week, month, year, from a very time-heavy perspective, having an actual calendar on your report makes it easy to visually see that. Now I have two metrics in mind. I have the total cost and I have the total sales. So I'm very easily able to kind of hover over, see any of those metrics as I go through there. In my settings for this, I pull over a date. It's a calendar, we gotta have a date for it. And then I also put in two metrics. You can have more, you can have just one if that's what you'd like. And in our settings for this, here in my calendar setting, this is where I am changing all the things from my data border color, that cell color right here, my header color, the header title. I'm changing the weekdays, the days, all of that stuff is all in this color section for your calendar. For my legend, here's my legend over there. I'm able to adjust that if I would like. And then into my metrics, this is where I can change those up because maybe I'm like, you know what? I don't want cost to be green because cost is costing us some money. So let's go with red for that. And then we'll say that the sales are the green one. It's looking a little like Christmas, but kind of differentiate those. You've got a lot to play around with in here. And then of course your standard general settings as well. You turn the title on and off, change your background effects, all of that good stuff for this one. Now, last of my 5 faves is this advanced card. Now I like this advanced card because you get some extra design features in this rather than the standard card. But essentially, you're showing one metric, one amount, one thing here. Now, with this card visual, you can do a lot of really cool design things. So I can add, some curved edges. I can add straight edges. I can bring an image into the background. I can make my text bold, italic. Lots and lots of things are going on in here. So you can also add conditions and then prefixes, which would come before that, or postfixes, which would come after, to further describe this number that is here, which gives you a lot of data opportunity to show on that card compared to the standard card, which is literally one data field that you're plugging in. Now, you got a lot of options in here to modify, so definitely if you try this one out, play around, see how that goes, see what changes what. But we can see in our general, I can affect the spacing, which I love to have some design options there. Maybe you just really love the look of everything being left aligned for a certain report. You got it, you can do that. In my data label, I can easily adjust colors here, my units that I want to show, however I want to display that. My font, again, I can change that bold, italics in here. For the category label, which is right down here where it's total sales, again, color, the font, the family, bold, italic, all of that is available. I can add the prefix, which again, the prefix is going before, postfix is after. I don't have any data in there for the prefix or the postfix, but that gives you just additional abilities to describe your data, make it really obvious what this is about. Now in my fill, this is where you're able to bring in an image. Now I simply just got this one off Google. Wouldn't suggest you actually do that for your regular reports, but you're able to bring in an image, again, just like with the Chiclet slicers. If you have all of like product images hosted, you can grab that URL, plug that in, again, adjust your transparency, however low or high you want that to be. Add any image padding in there, color, all of that good stuff. And then with your stroke, this is where I can kind of have that really cool curved and straight edge combo. That's literally just kind of adding those in. I can change kind of the directions. Let's go bottom, left, inward. I think it's that one over there, but you can kind of play around, see how that looks, see what that does. You get to change your color on here. You can change the stroke width on that. Make that larger, smaller, and even change the stroke type as well. And of course, this corner radius, that is what is giving that curved edge right over there. You got some more conditions, and then of course, your regular general settings. Now, I know I said 5, but I do have one more bonus custom visual for you, and this is the aquarium visual. Now, this visual is one that we use in pretty much all of our Power BI classes to kind of track points and participation throughout them. And this aquarium visual is a really fun one because you are able to kind of tie it into your data, and the larger the number, the larger your fish. If you have any negative numbers in your data, then you get a little belly up fish floating to the top of the aquarium. So I don't know if I put this in every corporate report, but it's a really fun one internally if you are tracking some metrics. And for your little fish, again, you are pulling in your data for for mine is marked as student, and then the fish size is based on kind of whatever metric you're looking at for that. Now with your theme, there's a classic and there's a sea floor, and this used to be totally free. There is now an additional paid aspect for what you can get to it, but there is this one right how as I have it is totally free. You're also able to change your fish styles, so you can have the little round fish, you can have the little triangle fish, or my fave, which are the sharks right here. You can kind of set an outline on or off depending on what look you like, and even fixing your kind of fish size, what that is based off of. And then if you want to add in data labels, you can. That one is an upgrade, and then you got your kind of standard ones here. So those are my top 5 favorite custom Power BI visuals that are free and Power BI certified. So if you have other favorites, please share those below. I would love to try them out. If you have tried these, use them, love them, let me know in the comments below. And of course, please like this video so I know how we're feeling about this series. We've got a lot more to go in our report. Design instruction will be coming out soon. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel so when they come out, you will be able to see them first. And I will see you all in the next video.